Hard Mark Podcast.
Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan.
Sleep on a bed.
That's corruption. I could make a fake snake.
You do not pee in the pool. You do not pee in Tim Duncan.
All of myself is clean.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hard Mark Podcast, a show where I, Erik Donaldson, wrestling fan of over 30 years, introduce one match per episode to my co-host who has never watched wrestling. We talk about the backstory, we watch that match, and then we rank that match on our ever-growing list. The purpose of this show is twofold. First, to see what happens when someone who's never watched wrestling is introduced to its most notable matches, and secondly, as a window into the mind of my co-host, he is the man of 1,000 compliments, the Soul Skater, the maitre d' of Matt Drama, the Tampa Bay Topsider, the living painting, the talent, the brainless baseball blockhead, Flying Ryan Murphy. How's it going, Ryan?
Nice touch. Thanks.
That is a reference, of course, to the previous episode, where we determined that professional wrestling fans are indeed, in fact, the smartest fans in the world, and baseball fans are only smarter than NASCAR fans.
Yeah. Yes, we did.
I like how you've just accepted this.
Yeah.
You're not even rebutting it. No arguments. You're just laying back and taking it.
I mean, I think I asked for some sources last time, but you gave me your source, so
yeah, it was a very reputable betting site.
Exactly.
Who? If you can't trust a betting site, who can you trust, Ryan?
Yeah, no, true. I can't argue with that.
Fucking can't trust anybody. That's what I'm saying. And with that said, actually, I want to kind of go in a little bit of a different direction than maybe how we ordinarily go. I want to pay a compliment to my co-host, Ryan Murphy.
Thank you.
And also provide a little state of the Hard Mark address. I know that we've talked a little bit about Ryan's employment situation, how he may or may not be staying in the greater Seattle region, which is still actually up in the air. We don't even really know that at this particular point in time. But I just wanted to kind of set the record straight. We have talked about this, and I think it's time that we mention it on the air as well. We have discussed it, and we are planning to continue with the podcast, Ryan and myself, even if he does end up moving, to Nepal or Tibet or wherever he ends up going. We will continue to do it a virtual thing, even if Ryan is no longer here in the greater Seattle region.
Maybe give me some new perspective on
right
where I go.
So much different styles of wrestling.
Exactly.
On the East Coast, in the Midwest, in the South. So really, wherever you go, I think you'll be exposed to a whole lot of new science.
Right. Bring a lot to the podcast from there.
But the reason I'm mentioning these things is because, and this is where the compliment comes into you, Ryan, when I've given thought to the possibility of Hard Mark existing without Ryan, just as a me and, I don't know, whoever else sort of project, I think that Ryan brings such a unique element to the show that I don't know that I could replicate with anyone else. And so the things that frustrate me the most about Ryan are also the things that are completely unique to him. And I think really, really makes the dynamic of the show what I think is appealing to people, in that, it's someone that you can sit down in front of a wrestling match, and then it's almost as if he's seeing wrestling for the first time every time. For better or for worse.
It's a great compliment. Thank you, Erik.
But I don't know that the chemistry would be there with anybody else. Who knows? Maybe the virtual thing eventually gets to be too much. Or, who knows where lives go moving forward. But I'm enjoying this process of kind of setting up these things and going through them. And, Ryan's been a good sport about it. And I think that Ryan brings such a unique and just funny element that I don't know that I could replicate anywhere else. So at this point in time, no plans for anything to be changing about that secret formula behind the Hard Mark recipe.
Right.
Do you have anything to say around this topic?
No, just like I said, I'm just looking forward to bringing that new perspective.
That big dick energy.
That's what I was going for.
Okay,
yeah,
good. Do you have any compliments for me?
I hadn't prepared any tonight, but
There's nothing that just springs to mind as like a cool compliment that you could say.
I am working on it and on the back end.
Okay.
So, once I have that laid out and
I appreciate
and fully
that.
polished, I'll present it.
One thing actually that we've discussed off air. Actually, no, we have talked about it on air, and that's the whole reason why I'm bringing this up right now. So, you recently went to go visit your parents, who live not in Seattle, and one of the homework assignments that I gave you during that trip was you apparently wrote a poem when you were younger. And you didn't tell us what this poem was, but you made reference to like a wave.
Yeah.
Is this true?
Yeah, the poem was about a wave.
So anytime that we get introspective, Ryan, it's always very surprising to me because like I see you not that way. But like clearly like you have an introspective side, like that does exist for you. So, I mean, do you feel comfortable? You did take a picture of this poem, right? I think you told me that you did.
The poem itself is a picture as well. Just
okay.
It's illustrated by me.
Will you read the poem to the Markomaniacs right now?
I can read the poem.
Okay.
I can read the poem. I took a picture of it.
Okay.
I took a picture of the picture.
All right. Do you need me to do anything? Like I can add some effects, what any music, any background music, anything you need on my end to help facilitate with this or kind of set the mood?
You can cut that in post. I think you can.
What, music? Well, what do you want is what I'm saying.
You want me to read it with music in the background right now?
Well, no, but like I can add it, but what would you want? I can give you an echo. Like a cool,
don't give me an echo.
Scholarly echo, like you're
I can't handle this.
Like you're in a classroom environment.
Let me find it.
Okay.
Let's see.
Really expecting some like Robert Frost.
I mean, I read it before. I took a picture of it. It's been a while. It's still framed at my parents' house.
I mean, this. I'm not committing, but like depending on my reaction and kind of how the Markomaniacs feel, like this could be the next set of merch.
I kind of almost expected you to have it somehow and like have it on a cup.
Greta will eventually be my inside man on all these things.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick before you read it. Sure. How old were you when you wrote this?
10.
Okay.
5th grade.
Okay, so I think that that's good to sort of like establish like you weren't in your 20s.
Sophomore year college.
Right. Was this for school or you just like did it?
No, this was for school. We had to.
Okay, this
I
was
remember
school.
what we had. I mean, that was probably a 5th grade project, like
in my brain, I'm imagining you after you got hit by the car in a full body cast writing a poem, but I don't think that's what actually
That was
happened.
when I was in 3rd grade, Eric.
Okay.
All right.
I apologize.
Yeah. I hadn't broken any bones since.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
A wave is like a twister. Twisting, turning, spinning, then it dies down. Never knowing it was a wave, but you will always remember. Fucking deep cuts.
Pretty
there.
fucking good. This feels like inside the actor's studio. What does it mean?
The first part, I think it got a little away from me there with the comparison to like a twister.
Right. But they're so similar.
I think it got wrapped up nicely at the end.
Yeah.
But I thought the first part, it was,
sure.
I don't know where that like metaphor, I was just comparing one thing to another thing.
Can I see the picture? Because I'm curious to see. Oh, you actually, okay.
It's a wave.
Oh, see, all right. When you were describing this to me, I had assumed that it was going to be like they took the actual poem that you wrote and like got art commissioned around it. So I was imagining like, that old Japanese like wave thing that like every girl in her 20s had?
Possibly, yeah.
Anyway, I expected something like that, but with like your text and like calligraphy font at the top. I didn't expect that it was going to be art that you made alongside text that you'd written.
And birds.
With birds, yeah. I'm noticing the little the M birds that children draw. Yeah, waves like a twister. Twisting and turning, spinning until it dies down. Okay. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff, Ryan.
Yeah.
Very deep. Anything else that people may have missed about the, backstory of that poem, some of the meaning?
Well, I mean, and just never know it's a wave, and you'll always remember.
You'll always remember that wave. I remember every single wave I've ever seen.
There you go.
Have you surfed?
I have, but like lesson-wise. Like,
Okay.
I haven't. I do like. I love the beach. I like waves.
Is that true? You don't strike me as a beach guy. I think you.
Do I really not, or are you just fucking saying that? Like,
See, I think like at a first glance, people would be like, "Yeah, Ryan Murphy, he seems like a beach guy," but like I just see you getting irritated by sand.
No, beach guy.
Okay, big
I'm a
beach guy.
Beach guy, yeah.
Okay. I guess there's that love of boating that runs deep in your soul.
I had it for a while, and
Oh, I'm aware of how that played out. Yeah. R.I.P. the heavy hooker.
R.I.P. But so that was it. That was the poem.
So that's the poem. That's Ryan's poem, everybody. If you're interested in commissioning some art, if you'd be interested in a hard mark sticker featuring Ryan's poem, just shoot me a message. I can make that happen very easily. Last thing I want to mention before we get into some wrestle talk here today. How spicy do you want to get with this last thing this next conversation topic? On a level of 1 to 10, 10 is maximum spice. One is very.
I would never choose 10.
Okay.
With you, Erik.
Well, okay.
I mean, sometimes I feel like it would just be a 10, but I would never, voluntarily.
Okay, I'm not going to leave it up to you then. I'll just ask you. Okay, so this was actually a hypothetical that my wife and my little sister and myself all had a very spirited debate about in Leavenworth like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So I will pitch this to you and I want to get your thoughts. So are you familiar with what a micropenis is?
Is it under some sort of threshold of like size?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
So like little people, and I'm not saying that all little people have micropenises. That's not where I'm going with this. But like a little person is specifically defined as being under a certain height. I think it was like 4'10" or 4'8". I don't know the specifics off the top of my head, but like a micropenis is also kind of defined by that same thing.
What is it?
Well, I mean, I can look it up.
You guys had this conversation and didn't look it up?
This was like 2 years ago, Ryan. I don't have the specifics of... Okay. I can tell you that the image of a micropenis is burned into my brain, but I don't know the specifics on measurements.
Does it look like a belly button? Like an Audi?
You know what? That's actually a really good description of it. That's actually pretty accurate. It does look like an Audi belly button. Yes.
Yeah, Here
you go with the mons,
nice.
mons pubis and everything. We're just on Wikipedia. You can go to Wikipedia and search micropenis.
It's mostly balls.
It is mostly balls. That's a bad... Okay, here we go. Smaller than 2 3/4 inches.
Hard, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Erect.
Yeah.
Smaller than 2 3/4 inches erect is a micropenis. Which is little.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a micropenis, right? So now we're clear like this. This is a micropenis. You got to stare at it. You got to really look at it.
I got a good it's burned into my.
You need to get an iPhone. Okay, so you have two options, Ryan. Option 1, micropenis. That's what you're born with. You're born with a micropenis. Option 2, have you ever heard of Jonah Falcon? So where I first heard of Jonah Falcon, he was featured, I believe, in a Rolling Stone article. If he does not have the biggest documented penis of anyone, it's like fucking up there. He's got to be in the top 5. Gigantic penis.
Like 12 inches?
He claims
10 inches?
13.5 inches erect.
Holy shit. That's uncomfortable.
Let's see if so he has never done porn. He's never just had it out, but he has done a photo shoot. So I'm assuming that's flaccid, and it's basically going like halfway down his thigh.
Yeah.
Like over halfway down his thigh. It's like a big penis. But basically he did this Rolling Stone interview and he was talking about how like his penis is so large that he can't even have sex like with women because it's too big to like, he can only get, 25% of it in.
Yeah.
So, the question I pose to you, micro penis or comically oversized penis? What do you go for?
I
This was higher on the spiciness level, by the way.
Like, I think it would be a bummer if you physically could not have sex, like, or barely get it in. Like, that would be a bummer. Like,
so you're talking about micropenis right now?
No, I'm talking about the 12-inch. That would be a bummer. Like,
I mean, because everything you're saying would be equally applicable to anyone with a micropenis.
Even with like a 2-inch penis, I think you could still like kind of.
Did you see the size of that guy's Mons penis?
But he was obviously not hard.
I mean, how long is 2 inches? Like,
it's not
like
but
this, right?
I'm just
like you're not.
Okay, I think there's pros and cons to probably each of those. Like,
I think either one is only getting 25% of their stuff inside.
No, because why would it only be 20? What the micro penis is going to be able to get 100% in?
No, not 100%. Not unless it's like a gymnast is very, very able to contort their body, but like in conventional, suburban positions, there's no way they're getting like even over half of that in. There's like the base, and then you're just assuming they're just marinating it. What about thrusting? Like you're gonna it's gonna be like little mouse fucks.
I'm trying to fucking think, Eric. All right, I'm trying to fucking think which one.
Sure. And by the way, if there's anyone listening to us with a micropenis, this is not in no way like degrading your experience. You shoot us a message on Instagram, but it's purely a hypothetical. We're not like saying anyone's lesser than for having a big or a small penis for that matter. I'm just throwing out scenarios here.
Yeah, I mean, it might be like more embarrassing. Just unfortunately, just how society acts.
With a micropenis,
right? But it also could be like embarrassing with a huge like horse penis too. Like
sure.
Like I guess which one would I not want to have or would I want to have? Which one
would you pick if you had to do one of the two? Which one is less bad? Which one would you prefer to do?
I don't know if I want to say like.
What do you
feel bad for like anyone like.
I've done a lot of studies. Remember, this is a highly scientific podcast, Ryan. Right, I've done all of the studies about the size of the genitals of our listenership. They're all, normies. They're all in the standard deviation there.
I would probably have to, just because of the way, like men's penises are like kind of perceived here. Like maybe I'd go with the larger penis, but I also understand there's a lot of cons with that, and I could maybe go with the smaller one too. Like, but just at least you could like take it out and be like, this is what it is, like
Right? Sure.
Yeah.
That's okay. So that's, I mean, I didn't hem and haw about it quite as much as you did, but that was also my answer. It was between the two. Yeah. I would pick the big one just on account of the fact that like there's some sort of benefit to that, even though it's like not the ideal situation. But like, if you have a micropenis, that's like a conversation anytime that you're meeting like a woman that you're interested in. Like eventually it's going to get to the point where you have to like explain that. Right. And like you'd probably have to explain the other way too. But there's like, ways around that are less embarrassing. I don't know. But I think, so the reason for my pick of the bigger one was just, I think from a confidence standpoint alone, right? If you had a micropenis, I think that would always be in the back of your mind anytime that you're like meeting somebody. Just the idea that like eventually I'm going to have to show this to this person. Like, what if they laugh? Like, I'm sure there would be all these different thoughts coming through your brain. Other thoughts would be going through your brain if you had a gigantic penis. But I think that's an easier conversation and potentially less, I don't know, scary, embarrassing, whatever word you want to associate with that. But I think that's an easier conversation to have.
I think so too. Like, probably going to get more like.
And I'm sure you're eventually going to meet some crazy ladies who are just like, let me at it. Like eventually,
I'm surprised this person never went into like porn, even just like.
He is an actor too. Is the funny thing? He's an actor. He apparently was in an episode of The Sopranos.
He has to go into porn. I'm just saying, like, I mean, everyone would want to put you in a porno. Like, you would have to try out. Sure, you don't have to start with anything. You could just go into regular like straight porn, like right, like,
right. I mean, I would think it seems like I agree. It seems like a squandered gift of sorts.
Good, well put.
If you're being blessed with this, you might as well have it make some money for you. But I could also see not wanting to exploit it. I can see both sides.
Sure.
In case you were curious, both my sister and my wife went the other way. They both said micropenis.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember why. I think it was because I think that they said it was like they were worried about it like getting in the way.
Yeah.
like sitting on it and it just kind of like being a nuisance to them.
Like, I can't imagine it would be like super pleasant for a woman to try to take something like that.
No, I don't think so.
Like, and that's also something you would have to deal with that.
Sure.
I mean, you would have to address that problem. It's just like, it's initially, it's not as, I probably just like embarrassing to like, talk, but there's still a fucking problem with it. Like, like, so.
That's very true. Yeah. Don't you think, though, like, I mean, it would be a lot of trial and effort, and it would be a little bit harder to sort of verify this type of thing. But, like, if there's a man with a penis out there that's that big, there's got to be a woman with a vagina that's, like, able to accommodate that, right? Like, there's got to be somebody who
I don't think a vagina would be able to accommodate it anyway. Like, I think about what they accommodate anyways.
Babies.
Right.
Children.
Like, I mean, so... Yeah, you probably could, but
right. I not everybody. I know, like, the vast majority probably could not, but I think because that's different than like the womb area and whatnot. But yeah, I think somebody, through enough trial and error, you could find someone who could accept that.
I feel like, yeah, I mean, again, that would be uncomfortable. Yeah, like I wouldn't, as a woman, if I was a woman, I wouldn't want to accommodate that sort of.
Markomaniacs, I encourage you, ask this question around to anyone, in your social circles. I'm curious to hear what the results are, because every guy that I've talked to Ryan probably, was the most wishy-washy, but eventually they all land on big penis. And then every woman that I've spoken to has always ventured towards the small penis. So I'm curious what the overall science says on this one. So Ryan, team big penis. Shall we talk about wrestling?
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. So I picked a match for us this episode. And the reason that I picked this match is because, and I think I referenced this after your ranking last episode, you're kind of a misogynist.
Oh, am I?
Mr. Big Penis over here. A little bit of a misogynist. Do you know why I'm saying this?
Why is that?
So we have watched two matches featuring women.
I keep moving them down.
You seem to be unfairly targeting Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Like, it seems like maybe not every episode, but every 2 to 3 episodes, whenever you're like looking at our list of matches, you're always like, you put it above Charlotte and Ronda. And like, you seem to like that match during. Sort of.
It was a fine match. Pleasant match.
And I can't help but feel like maybe there's some anti-woman sentiment here. So I want to give you the opportunity to redeem yourself. So we're going to be watching something that actually ticks a couple of boxes in this case. One, it's a women's match. 2, you've also expressed interest to me of watching like a recent match. And this is about as recent as it gets. This is actually from this year's WrestleMania back in April. That happened in your favorite city, Tampa Bay.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to watch here today. Women's match, Tampa Bay, WrestleMania 2021.
I don't know this match, by the way. But was there news surrounding this outcome? Like, was it like a big storyline to any degree?
Like mainstream news?
Maybe not but like Reddit news, something that might pop up on just like your... I feel like I heard something about it, and I can't remember if this was it.
I don't know.
Probably.
I'm not sure.
Like squared circle, like
it's possible.
Yeah, but nothing like crazy.
Nothing insane.
Okay.
No, I don't think like this. I mean, there are going to be fans of this match, but I don't think it was something like, oh, holy shit, everybody needs to know about this fucking match. Like, it wasn't quite to that level. While both, participants are very talented. Yeah, I don't think it went like too over the top, but I mean,
there's no underdog victory or something like that. I guess you can't.
I mean, you want me to just tell you who wins? Okay, so let's just get into it. I mean, if anything strikes you as familiar, we can address it. But okay, so over the last few years in the WWE, there has been a noticeable shift in how women's wrestling has been presented. So there's been a number of people responsible for the move away from sexualized bra and panty matches and bikini contests that used to happen like all the time in the 90s and early 2000s. And I know we've talked about this, but a bra and panties match is where you're literally stripping your opponent down to their bra and panties. Really classic content. But the final push leading to women's wrestling being viewed as equal to the men's came with the rise of an informal group in the WWE that were known as the Four Horsewomen. So the name is a tongue-in-cheek reference to Ric Flair's group from the 80s and 90s, the Four Horsemen, and is comprised of Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. Now, it's important to note the Four Horsewomen have never been presented as a group on television, but they all rose through the ranks together and have been presented as frequent friends and rivals over the past 5 years or so. And so we've seen Charlotte Flair already. We've talked about Becky Lynch. We haven't actually seen her yet. And we have not seen Sasha Banks or Bayley just yet either. So in the case of the Charlotte Flair match that we saw, again, Ryan has unfairly targeted and repeatedly bumped that match down in his ranking in a move that I can only assume is his way of lashing out against women. But today he has the opportunity to, prove himself as an ally, as a true, inspiration, someone who's out to bring women up, raise them up, and not just knock them down in his scientific rankings here today. So today's match features one of the other members of the Four Horsewomen, which is known, or she is known, as Sasha Banks. So Sasha Banks is the cousin of Snoop Dogg. Let that sink into you. I think it's...
For real?
Yeah, this is real.
Okay.
She's she is a blood relative of Snoop Dogg. She is Snoop Dogg's cousin.
Is that well known? Am I just missing,
I don't think that wrestling as a whole, and I mean, we can go down the modern wrestling rabbit hole if you want, but I don't think there's a whole lot about WWE today that's super well known. The biggest star that they have in the company is a guy named Roman Reigns who, he was in one of the Fast and the Furious movies recently. I think he's done another acting gig here and there, but he's not quite on the level of a John Cena now. Mm-hmm. Maybe in another 5 to 10 years, I wouldn't be shocked if he was. But he's pretty much the biggest star in the company at the moment, which we also have seen him previously in the Shield versus Wyatt Family Brothers match that you like referencing. But yeah, I don't think Sasha Banks, yeah, Snoop Dogg's cousin or anything like that. Unless you specifically seeked it out, you probably wouldn't know. Sasha Banks, do you have Disney Plus?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you watch The Mandalorian? This doesn't seem like your type of thing. Okay. She did a guest spot on The Mandalorian, just so you know. So she's also kind of dipped her toe into acting a little bit. So despite being the smallest of the horsewomen, she's arguably the most technically sound and agile of them. After spending some time in the WWE developmental system and not finding much success, she eventually developed the character of the boss, Sasha Banks, which is a cocky, brash wrestler who knows that she's better than everyone else, and this finally gave her the chance to show her personality and make a name for herself. So she's been a part of the WWE's main roster, so out of their developmental system since 2015, and she's established herself as one of the key members of that women's roster, winning several titles and even some Match of the Year awards along the way. So she's done very, very well for herself. I'd say she's kind of regarded as one of the top wrestlers in general, but definitely top women's wrestlers in the company. So leading to this past year's WrestleMania in Tampa, which was the first WWE event in front of a live crowd in over a year, Sasha was set to defend the Smackdown Women's Championship in the main event of night one of WrestleMania. So WrestleMania was actually a 2-night thing this past year, and her opponent is going to be Bianca Belair. Any questions so far about the whole lack of fans or anything else that we mentioned?
The lack of fans is in
so this is the
pandemic,
yeah. So this is the first WWE event that was in front of a live group of fans in over a year.
What was their capacity 25% or something?
I think so. It was in the Tampa Bay, the football stadium.
So it could have been 100%.
Could have been 100%. They limited it. They limited it to 25,000 people per night.
Oh, and how much did you say the capacity was? 100?
I don't know. It's whatever the Tampa Bay football stadium capacity is, plus
the Buccaneers?
Yeah, the Buccaneers.
Oh, okay.
So it was in that stadium. I don't know, maybe 50%.
That's probably 50%. Yeah, that's a good amount.
But they're also putting like people on the like ground level too, remember? So it's not just people in the stands. They've got a bunch of floor seating and stuff like that. But yeah, until this, so we haven't actually watched any of these matches from the pandemic era of WWE, and God, I hope we really don't. But it's been in front of what they call the Thunderdome.
Yes, is that like the screens?
Yes.
Fucking just.
Do you like that idea? Like,
do I like it? No, I don't like it at all.
Why don't you like it?
I just think I didn't like any sort of sporting event during COVID. I thought it was all just atrocious and bad, and they would put cardboard stands up in baseball stadiums. And,
you don't think it's better than cardboard stands, the Thunderdome idea?
no, it's like the tackiest thing I've ever seen. Like,
wow, tackiest thing you've ever seen. So you like the cardboard cutouts more than the Thunderdome?
Yes. Well, I don't like either of them, but yes, yeah.
So just so everybody's clear on what we're talking about. So WWE, they basically rented out an arena, and they like very impressive visually. I'll say it's not necessarily like it's definitely nowhere close to having actual like live people in the building. But what they would do is they had like all these monitors set up around the ring so that when they were shooting like the match, it was as if there was a crowd there, and each person that was on stream would kind of like be cheering or booing based on like what was happening in the match, and like WWE would actually pipe in like yay or boo or whatever to kind of go along with whatever narrative was being expressed in that match.
It looked like it was straight out like an old video game where they have like the crowd that's just like
yeah,
really kind of shitty like pixels out there. Like,
right.
Yeah, so I saw a couple of them.
I haven't heard much about it like lately. I think they more or less weeded out all the troublemakers, but especially when they first started doing Thunderdome shows, there was a couple people that were streaming. I remember there was one guy dressed in a Ku Klux Klan outfit. There was one guy who was who just had a picture up of Chris Benoit, who is a famous wrestler who murdered his wife and son. So there's like a couple of
like trolling like events. Yeah.
Yes. I'm surprised there hasn't actually been more of it, honestly. But I remember hearing about those when it first came up. But again, WrestleMania this past year was actually in front of fans, as opposed to last year's WrestleMania, which was not. They didn't even have a Thunderdome back then. It was just literally a ring, no one around. I like
that better. Yeah. Just go with the whole new dynamic of no one in there,
You say new dynamic or nude dynamic? Because I could go for either.
Nude dynamic.
Okay, so again, Sasha Banks, she's going to be wrestling Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is kind of like a newer prospect. She's recently brought up from WWE Developmental. Their developmental is called NXT. Not that you care, but that's what it is. She's a former All-American hurdler. She's a former power lifter and CrossFit competitor. So she's a very, very talented athlete. Overall, she's got all the physical tools to be a star in pro wrestling. Plus, and maybe most importantly, she has a really, really long braid that goes like past her butt that she uses as a weapon in her matches.
Nice. She put things in it? Spikes or glass or anything like that?
It's hard to say. I don't know. I mean, it could be like little bits of glass that you can't see on camera. So I mean,
a baking pan.
Yeah, and we'll have to run the science on it. Yeah. I mean, she may have baking pans or Rottweiler dogs in there. We're just not quite sure. So Bianca describes herself as the EST of WWE. And so you're probably wondering, well, what the fuck does that mean? It means that she is the strongest, she is the fastest, she is the toughest, and she is the best EST. You follow me on this one?
Got it.
All right. So
Slick.
She won the right to challenge for the women's championship by winning the Royal Rumble against 29 other women, and she is looking to make her name at the biggest show of the year and prove that she's capable of hanging with the top-tier talent of the horsewomen. Last couple things that I wanted to mention. This is only the second time that a women's match has main evented WrestleMania. So this has happened once before. This is now the second. And this is actually the very first time that the main event of WrestleMania was between two African Americans, man or women. So this is the absolute first time that's ever happened. So if you notice that they're a little choked up at the start of the match, I think it's because this was looked at as somewhat of a historic
Maybe
moment.
That's what I was talking about.
It's entirely possible. Yeah, I mean...
You could have brought that up like when I asked, but...
I don't know what made the front page of whatever weird sexual choking subreddits you're going on, pal, okay? So don't even ask me to get your fucked up mind.
Right.
So ultimately, the question around this match comes down to whether or not Sasha Banks is going to solidify her legacy by defending the title at WrestleMania, or is Bianca Belair going to take her place alongside the Horsewomen as a top star of the women's division in the years to come? And that's our thing. That's our match here today.
I'm hoping it ranks high. I hope be biased against it or anything. Like, let this one play out and where it belongs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you. So with all that said, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to watch that match. We're going to come back with our thoughts, and we'll see you in just a little bit. Thanks, everybody.
Hello, everyone. This is Robert with the Watching It podcast. We're a show that covers TV and movies. Join me and my co-host Donnell each week to talk about shows like Loki, The Lower Decks, Snowpiercer, Palm Springs, and Collateral. You can find us at watchingitpod.com or anywhere you get your podcasts.
You have to power an elbow, tie up a feeling out process between these two women. Belair now walking up the stairs. And dumping Banks into the ring. Banks up. Banks lands on her feet. Bianca and now again. Oh my God! Bianca. And that right there is Bianca's family. Bianca Belair wrote it down the B-E-S.
We're here. We're back. We just watched Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks in the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. How old am I? WrestleMania 37 this past year in Tampa Bay. Do you regret not going now that you've seen a little bit?
Absolutely, even more so than I
being
had
one
before.
of the 25,000.
Yeah, it was great.
Realistically, if you were to go, so ordinarily WrestleMania is like a one night thing, but it's like legitimately a 7 or 8 hour show ordinarily.
Yeah,
this was not that. This was like 2, 3, 3.5 hour shows or something like that. If you were to have gone, do you think that you would have just gone to one night and be like, okay, I did WrestleMania, or would you want the full experience of going to both nights?
I would probably go to one night.
That's about what I was expecting you to say. Yeah. And you cheap seats, or would you try and get like something decent? Like, what would your price range be?
I don't think like if prices were like $40-$50 for cheap seats, then maybe I'd drop a little bit more money on like a little bit better seats. Like it looked fantastic. Like it looked very. That was
like the first thing that we talked about.
Yeah, it looked great.
Is how like clean and the production value. Like we saw all sorts of fireworks and just like the of all the things you could say about WWE, positive or negative, I think their strongest positive is their production value and just how professional like everything is run on that side of things. It's very, very impressive. Overall, as far as just like the spectacle and just kind of visually what's going on the screen.
Yeah, it was really good.
What did you think? So as far as the match itself, what did you think of the intro package between Bianca and Sasha? Kind of like leading up to the match where they were kind of going back and forth, like, you're not the BEST, I'm the BEST, like, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like that line was said at least 4 times.
Yeah, like, pretty good.
Why are you holding onto the microphone?
I don't know.
Are you nervous right now?
I'm not nervous. Not nervous.
Are you nervous about offending all the Sasha Banks fans that are going to be listening to this episode?
The intro was fine. The intro didn't strike me as,
you weren't a huge fan of it. Let's just say it. You weren't a big fan of it.
No, it
just didn't grab you. There wasn't anything bad. And I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Greater or worse than like anything I've seen in the past. Or it was
we've seen cool stuff. We've also seen really bad stuff. But this was in the middle. Is the vibe that I'm getting from you. Okay, so then they have the entrances. Bianca got like a shitload of fireworks that had to be like several $1,000s worth of fireworks that were lit up during her entrance.
Exciting right there. That was good.
Exciting stuff. Sasha comes out. She's got the Snoop Dogg song. So Ryan did pick Sasha to win the match. We'll see how that plays out for him as we read through our notes here today, which for the record, I keep not doing this. I need to be better at this. Ryan's record going into our match here today was 21-19. So keep that in mind, 21-19. He picked Sasha Banks. So we'll see how that goes for him. Sasha makes her entrance to Snoop Dogg. Is the reason you picked Sasha because of Snoop Dogg? Is that like the reason, do you think? Or is there anything else?
Yes, it was.
That was such a small part of what I told you about all of these things, but you just latched onto the Snoop Dogg part. Are you a big Snoop Dogg fan?
I'm a big West Coast rap guy. Yeah,
okay.
So.
Are you part of the West Coast East Coast feud? Like, is there rappers that you don't like because they're East Coast?
I am
rappers?
part of the West Coast East Coast feud.
Who do you not like because they're an East Coast rapper? Travis Scott.
Is Travis Scott an East Coast rapper now?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't. I as far as what I'm going to take to latch on to, I always have to pick something. I'm pretty close, so that's just what I like, what I gravitated towards. But
Sure.
I liked her hair. You know, she had some nice.
The Seahawks colors, the blue and green.
It just looked. It's a nice look on her. You know,
I think you could pull that look off.
You think so?
With a couple months of Rogaine, I think you could do it.
God fucking damn it, that's unfair to me. Like, right off the bat, Erik.
We're halfway through this episode. And then, so the one thing that you almost... saying these things out loud, it sounds a little silly. I'll just say it because it's what happened. So for Sasha, the main thing, as we discussed, that sort of drove him to picking her to win this match was she's Snoop Dogg's cousin, and Snoop Dogg performed her ring music. Not live, but just, the recording.
He couldn't make it for his cousin's
he was busy.
WrestleMania.
A lot of important things.
Yeah.
It's his Snoop business. He's hanging out with Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
The thing that almost swayed you briefly towards Bianca Belair was the fact that she's from Knoxville.
Yeah.
Which you've
also
never
an
been
attractive. If you had told me that in the beginning, I might have latched onto that.
Honestly, I didn't find it to be relevant to the story of the match.
Yeah.
But I'll know better next time. Yeah. Next time, I will tell you where each participant hails from.
Yeah,
I'll do my best on that front. But the match starts. Both participants are crying. We talked about this before we actually watched the match.
I briefly forgot about that. Yeah,
yeah, and
very
again,
dramatic in the beginning.
It's like an emotional moment because like there are two women main eventing WrestleMania, there are two black women main eventing WrestleMania.
Were they both crying? I didn't feel like Sasha was crying as much as.
Yeah. So, well, okay. Can I not to get
my girl was not crying as much.
Your girl was not crying as much. It was mainly Bianca, and like to be honest, not to get into how the sausage is made too much, but I think that the reason that Bianca was crying is because she knew she was going to win the match. But I didn't want it to necessarily like be obvious that was going on. Because I remember when I was watching it live, it was pretty fucking obvious that was going on.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say that?
Yeah, that she thought she was going to win the match.
Well, she knew she was going to win the match.
Well,
I think this is my.
You're assuming that, right? Like,
yes.
Okay.
My take as a longtime viewer of wrestling was she knew that she was winning the main event of WrestleMania. She knew that her family was there. She was emotional at the start of the match because she was like excited about.
I just want to make sure, like, because it's rehearsed. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, rehearsed implies that like they practiced the match in advance. That's not true.
So because they made the decision?
Yeah. The wrestlers know who's winning and who's losing.
I understand that.
Okay.
But like that's not typically like that's just like an interesting comment like to me. Like obviously all these matches have been like determined, but that's not something we've ever like discussed on like pre-match. Like what's driving like, them to like, get into this match or like how they're acting beforehand or
sure.
So
well, okay, let's delve into that a little bit because you're right. I don't think that we've really talked about that subject before, and I don't think we've seen examples of this before. But like, and not to get in like a modern wrestling versus like classic pro wrestling sort of like debate or anything, but especially over the past 20 or so years, there's definitely been times where there have been wrestlers, usually when they win their very first title, like when you've been wrestling on the indies for so many years, or like you've been at it for like so long, and so when you win your first like world title, that's basically like the company putting faith in you and saying like, we trust you to like represent this company and like be able to draw fans to the building and stuff. So it's half Super Bowl victory and half Academy Award would be the way to look at it. So like, it's not a real contest. Obviously, we've talked about that many times. They're not actually competing against each other, but it's like a huge vote of confidence from the company. And it's like a way of sort of validating that all the sacrifices that you've made, like all this time that you spent away from your family, like doing pro wrestling shit, like it's all validated because now you're at like the top of your profession. So you'll see guys and women who get like very emotional. Now, normally that happens at like the end of the match when they actually win.
Right.
It doesn't usually
prior to the match start.
It doesn't usually happen prior. Like, I'm not gonna like, shit on Bianca Belair for doing it.
What are you doing?
Like, I get it too.
Put it together, like
right. But it's usually something you see at the end of the match.
That's an interesting like insight that I would have never like really thought of before. But
yeah.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense. She blew it, but
Well, she won.
Well, she did.
But she blew the.
Now, if I just, only could have thought of that. Like
But I think that there was, I think there was also an element of like, we're in the main event. Yeah. Like, I think there was a certain element of like, I never thought I would be in the main event of a WrestleMania. This is a huge deal for me. Like,
maybe Sasha should have been crying too because she was going to lose her.
Sasha got a little choked up, but she wasn't quite as emotional as Bianca. I'll say that.
Okay. All right. Well, fair.
Yeah. So match starts. You didn't. At the start, anyway, you didn't really seem to be a huge fan of this match. There was a couple points where, like, Bianca was showing off her athleticism, doing, like, some back handsprings, etc. I remember you made the comment, pretty handsy. What was your thought at the beginning?
I mean, they, like, just slapped each other around a little bit, like, in the corner at one point. Like, it got, like, there was no moves there. It just seemed like that got a little out of hand for a second. They just started, like, so... like kind of no coordination. There wasn't like, and then, that's fine. I mean, it's authentic, right? Raw.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's what I typically like see in a match. That's what I'm expecting. So I got a little like, a little handsy right there. And then, it just seemed initially a little less coordinated, like they were actually kind of going at it. And then they started to get back into their like, their groove, their moves and all of that kind of shortly after. But it just seemed like they were really off script a little bit in the beginning.
Okay. One also thing that we kind of saw, not only, really, it wasn't just at the beginning. We saw it in the beginning, but it kind of happened throughout the match, was there was a lot of kind of like pauses in the action, playing to the crowd. You were not a fan of that.
It was after every move. I get that they do it.
And you made a point to say, like, this happens in all wrestling matches. I'm not singling out the women because, again, you've been labeled as a misogynist.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, I think they can do it. But it was literally after every single move. They were like, both
you found it to be excessive.
Yeah, I just thought it was a little, but I think I got away from it fairly quickly, I think, but
I think towards the end of the match, it definitely picked up and you became more invested in what was going on. But I think at the beginning, you were thrown off by not only the amount of playing to the crowd, but you were also thrown off by more Bianca than Sasha, but like the amount of like Rob Van Dam-esque sort of like handsprings and sort of like extra stuff that was being thrown into the moves that weren't actually.
And not that it wasn't very athletic. It was like, I mean, but
sure.
Unnecessary, probably.
Right.
It didn't seem to ever serve a purpose. Like,
I remember you even saying at one point in time, and again, for anyone who's like joining in on this podcast for the first time, etc., like Ryan's only watched now, this will be just over 40 matches in his entire life. So he's not he is the non-wrestling fan. I'm the big wrestling fan. But I remember there was a point where you even said the sentence out loud, "That's not wrestling." Which struck me as so funny because that's such a thing that old school wrestling fans get all like butthurt about. Like, well, that's not wrestling. They're not grabbing a hold and working a leg.
Like today's wrestling, that's what they.
Yeah, for sure. No, they'll see stuff and kind of make the comment like that's gymnastics. That's not wrestling. Like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which you didn't go that far with it, but the sentiment was sort of there. Which I don't blame you for. I can see from that perspective, like what's the point of doing a bounce off the ropes if the idea is you're just splashing on the person? Just do the splash and do it. Let's see here. There was the point so you seemed a little nonplussed about this. I remember being very impressed, especially the first time I watched this match. But there was the bit where Bianca's outside of the ring. Sasha dives out of the ring, lands on her. Bianca rolls through, picks Sasha up and like presses her over her head and walks up the steps.
Again, like I would love to have seen her throw her into the crowd. That's what I was wanting to see, really.
I believe your exact sentence when that was happening was like, COVID crowd, throw her to the
really
COVID crowd.
Really dangerous, like.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So that's what I want. And so she just
How many people were vaccinated at that point in time in this
find
year?
Out, like,
Ryan.
It's in Florida.
Yeah, how many Floridians were vaccinated in early April?
But she basically just like picked her up and then like carried her up the stairs, like,
Yeah.
and then back into the ring. Like, I mean, even
Well, she tossed her over the top
a
rope.
little bit.
Well, I mean, she threw her over the top rope. There's not a little bit or a lot of bit of that she just did it. She threw her over the top rope.
She threw her a little bit over the rope.
I don't know what
I don't think it was that. Like,
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Okay, so that happened. Okay, so then we started seeing Sasha Banks using Bianca's hair against her. Like a couple times where she'd yank on the hair.
That's when it got good. That's when things changed in this match.
I knew that would be a thing that you like. Like, you like when people have things that they don't. I think it kind of goes with the showboating thing. Like, you like people getting comeuppance for excessive things on their person.
Yeah, I mean, you come out there with this sort of this happens in not only wrestling, but it happens in football too. Get dragged down by the extra hair. Well, you did that to yourself, right? You come out there with a fucking 6-foot braid, and this is gonna be something. These are the consequences that you might face, right? And it's legal, and she used it to her advantage, Right.
And I remember you actually. It's funny the things that you really like in matches, because simultaneously you like really athletic, sort of high octane type of matches, but at the same time you also enjoy the really logical, oh, you have a long braid, I'm going to use it, or you're up on the top rope, I'm going to kick your leg so you fall. It's a weird dynamic of the things that you grab hold of that you enjoy in these matches.
I wouldn't say she just used it. She that had an impact on it was impressive use of force on her hair,
Right.
Is what I would,
There was a couple times, she slammed her down by the hair. She yanked her by the hair. There's one point where she even had her in a submission hold where she tied Bianca's hair up in her own arm.
Rope.
Yeah, into the rope.
Choked her out with it.
Basically.
It was very strategic.
There was another time where Sasha was trying to use Bianca's hair against her, but then Bianca countered, pulled Sasha into the post. So it was kind of a counter to the counter of the hair. You didn't like the counters for the most part. You were always disappointed because you wanted to see the move, and then when the move would get countered, you'd be like, God damn it.
Even the counters weren't, there was a couple, I guess maybe one or two good ones, but the rest of them were pretty just I moved out of the way.
I think I know which counter was your favorite.
Yeah.
Which is my next note. So there was the 450 splash, they call it, where you basically do a front flip onto your opponent from the top rope, but then Sasha Banks got her knees up and Bianca landed right on. I feel like that's the point where you were kind of okay, I'm sort of into this match now.
Yeah, I don't know how she recovered from that. That's just, it's a brutal move. And it's smart. That's a smart move. That is a
very Ryan Murphy move.
Yeah, exactly. That's just put my knees up in the air and see that. But I can do some damage to some ribs, or
After that move happened, Ryan looks at me and he's like, if I was a wrestler, that's what I would do. And this is after the front flip, but I immediately knew he didn't mean the 450 splash front flip. He meant just getting his knees up so the person jumping on him would land on his knees.
Right. These guys always just lay flat on their backs as it happens. Throw your knees up there and
And that's why Sasha was your pick. That heads up play from the boss. Yep. A couple splashes. So really, I guess we could just kind of jump ahead towards the end. So there was the bit where Bianca's kind of tied up in the ropes and she's hanging upside down. Sasha is on the top rope and you think oh shit, she's going to stomp the shit out of her. Bianca counters, which you didn't like. To be honest, it was a little
not a counter. She didn't counter anything. She just moved.
Well, she was kind of doing a half crunch.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she just stopped doing a half crunch.
Which is easier than what she was doing before.
You're not wrong. So Sasha Banks misses the stomp. Bianca Belair hits the 450 splash that she tried to go for earlier. Sasha kicked out. Bianca had a very ridiculous reaction of kind of scooting around on her butt, oh my God. It's always funny when there's
when she was about to win, or she thought she was going to win.
When she thought when she was I can't believe Sasha kicked out. Some of the more over the top reactions to the 2-count kick out.
Do you think that was planned, or do you think she actually thought she had it at that point? Because that was a pretty authentic. It was planned. Oh really?
Oh yeah, that's called a false finish.
I mean, I see him all the fucking time. I just her reaction to it was I don't know, maybe she went over the top, like you said, or she thought she had.
No,
okay, all right.
No, that was absolutely planned.
I guess because we still haven't seen some of the best moves yet. That was probably not.
We've seen some good moves. We've seen a top rope Stormbreaker.
We've
seen a leg up, bear hug
in this match.
No. No.
No, I was just saying, like, the best moves in this match had yet to come. Like,
Well, there was only like one or two more moves.
that was, I mean...
So I think what you're referring to, so Sasha went back to the well, using Bianca's hair against her, and then what happens? Bianca yanks her hair back from Sasha. And so, again, for anyone who may have glossed over this when we were talking about it before, Bianca's braid goes down past her butt. So this is probably like a 3 to 4 foot braid
and it's
of hair.
Tight at the end.
Yeah. Very, very, and he's not talking like 90s slang tight, where he's talking like it's a tight braid.
Yeah, right. Thanks for clarifying.
A real tight braid. So Bianca takes this braid, which again had been for the most part used against her the entire match. She takes it and she whipped the absolute fuck out of Sasha Banks.
Just one time,
one time.
Yeah.
But that's all that it needed to be. Any more, it would have like been, a case of like lowering returns, that sort of thing. But like that one time, that crack echoed through that whole stadium. And like, I think upon first viewing, everybody's first impression was like, that can't be real. But then within a matter of 5 to 10 seconds, you immediately see this welt show up on Sasha Banks' rib cage from where she got whipped by that braid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
and
is insane.
During like even the finishing move, like the last thing, you it was almost like a wounded animal to some degree, and like you could just see her like being taken down with this huge just welts like right on. I mean,
yeah,
that was a solid finish. Like you gotta respect that move. Like she got her hair pulled around the whole match, but she came back and she used it to finish her off. Like.
And Sasha's selling after she got whipped. Like, I'm not sure how much of that was like make believe. I'm sure a lot of it was
she
like.
She didn't even like sell. That probably hurt. And
she was down on her knees, like crawling around, like, oh fuck. Yeah. Like, it was pretty legitimate. Again, I don't think there was a whole lot of embellishment that she needed to do to sell that. But it was among the best selling I've seen in any matches like at all recently.
Yeah. That didn't strike me as like over the top.
No, I think that was pretty appropriate.
Yeah.
From there, Bianca goes ahead, hits the finishing move that she has, which is the Kith of Death. And we've got a new SmackDown Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. So Ryan, that brings him down. I should make a note around this to 21-20. I know sometimes you feel like you got the short end of the stick. Other times you're like, you know what, that was fair.
Yeah.
What do you think about this time?
I think it's fair. I think
this was a fair loss because sometimes you get boo-boo faced about it.
Yeah, no, I don't.
This is not a boo-boo face.
I mean, honestly, I thought it could go either way towards the end of the match. I realized at one point I may have made a like slight mistake in my calculation.
When did you realize that?
I feel like it was when she got put up. Like it was later in the match, maybe like 3/4. She got put up like.
Oh, the stomp.
Yeah,
the missed stomp.
So
when Bianca was hanging upside down.
Was that when she put her? I mean, she put her up there first. So yeah, I guess like
yeah. Okay, and that was like the very end of the match.
Yeah.
So okay, all right.
It just started to shift.
Well, I know you've been wanting to postpone this. I don't think we can postpone it any longer. We got to rank it, regardless of where you put it. If it's not number one, which it won't be, you're going to probably piss some people off. But we got to do it. So it's time to go to the science. So we're going to pull up this list. In fact, I know you got it on the phone. I'll pull it up on my screen here so I can kind of follow along too. So are we thinking top, middle, bottom? I guess we'll start with that.
He is in the middle.
Okay. It might be right above Charlotte Flair versus.
Just thinking that 22. Like, is that...
The whole idea of this episode was to redeem yourself. I'm not gonna push you in any direction. Like, do what your heart tells you to do.
That is almost dead center, and that's kind of where I saw this match. It's a big match, right? It's like
this is an important match.
Important match
from a historical standpoint. I think people are going to look back and know this is important.
Yeah, and that's what I want.
And like you said, there were elements of it that you weren't a huge fan of, but Sasha Banks, great performance throughout. Bianca Belair, you may not necessarily be a huge fan of like her sort of flashier. Unnecessarily athletic style, but like very impressive athlete, like super strong, very agile, very impressive athlete overall.
I think maybe I should put it 21. Drop it right in there, right in the middle, right above.
Okay.
Bobby Eaton, Steve Austin, Terry Taylor.
Oh, so new number 22, you're saying?
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, new number 22. So above 20. Yeah, new number 22. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm going to...
And
I think it's a fair rating for everybody, this match. I think it's where I wanted to put it. I think...
Right. Do you have any email addresses or anywhere that any hate mail can be directed to? Or because don't send anything to the Hard Mark thing. I run Hard Mark on Twitter.
You could just blast that out. Just put my email.
I run Hard Mark on Facebook. Erik, I run Hard Mark on Instagram. So if you're like...
Do we have a domain that we can...
I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Right now, at the time of this recording, we don't. We might in the near future, but that might be a thing we have sometime soon. But just find Ryan. I'm sure if you're an obsessive Sasha Banks fan, you have ways of finding this guy. So just reach out to him directly. He'd love to hear from you. All right. Is there anything?
I'm just looking forward to any responses that we get.
We did actually get now this is from a little while ago by the time that people are going to hear this, but we actually did get a minor piece of hate messaging. I've never actually had anyone say anything negative before, but until
what was it
recently. So I posted a thing on our Instagram about, I think it was back in episode 27, there was a conversation we had about bidets, specifically around European bidets and how they're bullshit because they're butt baths. You fill up a thing of water and you wash your butt. It's not like a spray.
Sure.
And I posted that.
Was it Greta?
It was not Greta. It was not. Greta is a sensible lady. I'm sure Greta, she understands. But no, some random person. And to be fair, I may have poked the bear a little bit. I did tag it Europe and European bidet and stuff like that. So I take at least a little bit of it. But let me see what somebody said on that. Bear with me for a moment here. So Instagram actually banned it since I saw it yesterday. So it says, these comments were hidden because they may be offensive or spam. People can still tap to view them. So here's what it actually says. Only Americans find this disgusting. And then ... And then he goes on. The lack of critical thinking and common sense deficiency. So he's basically talking shit about Americans.
Good shit. Yeah. Good shit.
So there you go. And I just liked the comment.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So hatred brings us all together. So if you have any hatred about, Ryan dismissive, this very historic WrestleMania main event between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, find him.
Dismissive.
Find him.
Yeah.
Search wherever he may be in the country at the time you hear this. Seek him out.
We can have a conversation about it.
Yeah. Fly out to Knoxville. Let's finish this, right? Looks like it's about that time, more or less. So let's conclude this thing with some wisdom, not just any wisdom.
Wisdom.
You could go to a library today. Even if you're hard up for financial things, you could probably find some money in your pocket to buy some great Hard Mark merchandise available through our link tree. You can also buy us a coffee too, but those notwithstanding, you for no money whatsoever, you can go to your local library and get some wisdom, but it's not going to be any wisdom. It's going to be from Sun Tzu or from Aristotle. Great minds in their own right, but they're not quite on the level that you're going to find here on the Hard Mark podcast. And that's because only on the Hard Mark podcast are you going to find everyone's favorite segment, the one that they say is much better than Ryan's Corner, none other than Erik's Wisdom Tree.
That was not good.
What do you mean?
Did it? I don't have my headphones on all the way.
What the hell?
I thought you really.
Why do you not put your headphones on, Ryan?
Hopped over 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't hear it, so I thought you really butchered it that time.
No.
But I didn't have my headphones on.
Why are you not wearing your headphones? That's how you know if people can hear you.
I have them halfway on, halfway off.
Your mouth is so far away from the microphone.
It was not.
A fist, Ryan.
It's been right here the entire
time. Joe Rogan says a fist.
It's been.
See what happens when I do this? See how you can't hear me as well? See how now you can hear me much better?
Have you had any problems hearing me this whole time?
I don't know, because he keeps doing this with his microphone the whole time. This is me jiggling it.
Jesus.
Can I give people wisdom without you interrupting? Are you going to share on this wisdom like you always do? I feel like legitimately 75% of the wisdom that I give, you shit on.
But 25%,
There's like 2 that you've been like, that's pretty good, Erik. That's pretty good. The rest of the time, just like, that's fucking stupid.
I'm just trying to counter. All right.
That's not the purpose of this segment. This segment is to enrich people's lives. I'm going to give you a piece of wisdom, and this piece of wisdom is something you can actually use as an icebreaker. You know, you may be going to somewhere else in the country, somewhere else in the world, Ryan. You're going to need to make new friends, right?
Are you asking? Sure.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I know that you are. It's a rhetorical question.
Of course, I'll be tons of friends. Yeah.
So you know what makes friends, Ryan? You know what really ingratiates people to people? Humor, comedy. Mm-hmm. People love comedy. So can I tell you my favorite joke of all time? This is my absolute favorite joke. And then, you know, if you end up going to Tucson or you end up going to Rochester or you end up going to fucking Chino, you can tell this story to people, this joke, and it'll get big laughs. It takes a little bit of time, though, Ryan. Is
it something that you have to deliver effectively, or can you just spew it out there?
I mean, there's some room for creativity. You can put your own spin on it.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be the same every time.
Right.
Okay. So you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me hit you with it. Okay. So this is, I'm just going to call this, I don't know if this is the official title of it. This is called The Vietnam Veteran. It's the name of this joke. The Vietnam Veteran. So there's a gentleman, man. This was a few years ago. This didn't happen in 2021. It's pre-pandemic. If you can remember that, everybody. It's been a while. But this gentleman, he went, he participated in the Vietnam War, but he had a family back home. He had a wife, 3 kids. They're all pretty young. Jeremy, Jessica, Jerome. They kept with the J thing.
3 J's.
Yeah, 3 J's. Mm-hmm. Some families do that. I think it's silly, but you know, some families do that. But so he goes out to Vietnam, and unfortunately, because this is a wartime scenario, like things happen in war. Like this is not ballet, everybody. So he unfortunately loses both of his arms in the conflict, and he's honorably discharged. They send him back home, and you know, he's at home for a little while. He's sort of convalescing. He's gathering his bearings with now an armless man. Still all of his other appendages. He's got his legs and feet, his nose, his mouth, his eyeballs, etc. Everything else is intact, but no arms or hands or fingers. But, you know, he's just kind of fallen into a state of depression, Ryan. He's not doing so well, as you can imagine, as you would be with no arms. And he, eventually the depression gets so bad where his wife just says, I'm moving out. I'm taking the kids. I'm going back to my mother's house. I need to leave. This is too toxic of an environment for me. I need to remove myself, and, you know, maybe we can kind of reevaluate things sometime in the future. And so he's devastated. He's heartbroken. But, you know, what can he do? He's broken not only physically but mentally, Ryan. He's a shattered form of his former self. So, you know, she leaves. A few weeks go by. You know, he's subsiding on crackers, top ramen, not a whole lot, just, you know, the basics, the essentials. Living in this house, but the house, it just seems empty without his family there. So eventually he decides, I need to get out of this house. I need to find a purpose in life. I need to figure out what it is that I'm meant to be doing with myself. Like, I refuse to believe that this is all just happenstance, that I lost my arms for no reason. There's got to be some sort of purpose behind all this. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to find it. So he leaves his house. Days upon days upon days, he's just walking. He's looking for his purpose. He's convinced that eventually his purpose will, you know, find him. It'll be obvious what it is that he needs to do with the rest of his life. And one day, after weeks of just journeying endlessly, he stops, park bench, sits down, looks up, and he sees this beautiful church, a church unlike one he's ever seen before in his entire life. Why are you shaking your head, Ryan?
No, go. Keep.
Do you have any thoughts so far? Do you have any questions about this man?
No, I'm beautiful soaking family? Up every aspect of the story. I want to make sure This is important. Yeah, right.
If you go to Rochester, this is going to kill.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
The people in Cincinnati are going to fucking love it.
I hope I'm in Cincinnati.
I hope you are too. I will visit you in Cincinnati. We will do a Cincinnati podcast. But he sees this church, right? Beautiful church, stained glass windows, giant, not like a mega church like is around today. We're talking like an old school, like cathedral style church. And the most important feature, probably the one that grabs his eye the most, this bell tower. You don't see a whole lot of bell towers today, but he saw it at this church. So he wanders inside and he walks around and he sees the pastor, the member of the clergy that happens to be working at this church, and he says, "Father, I would love it if I could be your church bell ringer. I've been searching for my purpose for the past several weeks. As you can see, I lost my arms. I lost them in the Vietnam War, and all I've been wanting is to find a purpose in life. And I think I found it. I was sitting on that park bench outside, and I saw your bell tower, and it just struck me. It was like God speaking to me directly, and I just knew that my purpose in life was to be that church bell ringer." And so the pastor, he looks at the man and he says, "Well, son, I wish I could help you, but unfortunately, I just don't know how in good conscience I could give the role of a church bell ringer to a man with no arms." And so the Vietnam veteran, he looks at him, he's like, "Please just let me prove to you that I can do this job. And if I can't prove that to you, then I'll leave. I won't bother you anymore. But if I can prove it to you, please just, agree to hire me on." The pastor says, "Okay, well, I'll give you the opportunity. It's the Christian thing to do." So they walk up the bell tower. They get to the room with the bell. And so the pastor says, "Well, God be with you, son. I wish you nothing but good faith." And so the Vietnam veteran, he looks at the bell, looks at it for a good, 45, 60 seconds, looks back at the pastor and looks at this bell, backs up to the very edge of the room. So his back is literally touching the wall, stares at this bell. It's like Michael Jordan, the flu game, right? He's just focused, runs as fast as he can, jumps, hits the bell, and the bell starts ringing. And the pastor's like, "Wow, that's truly impressive. Unfortunately, we don't do the hiring at this church. You're going to have to go to our sister church. It's just, 20, 30 miles down the road. If you can agree, if they'll agree to hire you on that church, then, we can bring you on as the church bell ringer." Vietnam veteran's like, "Okay, well, thank you for your time, Father." So he leaves. Over the course of the next day or so, he's kind of meandering there. He's staying at different hostels, halfway houses, etc. He's making ends meet however he can. But eventually, he finds his way to this next church. And, oh my, it's even bigger, Ryan. It's even bigger. It's twice as big. Twice as many stained glass windows. This church is beautiful, Ryan. It would bring a tear to your eye if you saw this church. And you know what the most important feature of this church was? Bell tower, right there attached to the church. Like, what are the odds? Bell tower attached to this church too? That's incredible. Walks inside. Takes him a while. He's looking around. He's like, "Father, pastor, member of the clergy." And eventually he finds the guy, right? He says, "Father, I talked to your sister church, 20 or 30 miles down the road, Sister of Mary Joseph church down the road. They said if I could convince you to become the church bell ringer, like if you would agree to that, then, I could be hired on and find my purpose in life." Because that's what I've been looking for this whole time, because I lost my arms in the Vietnam War. My wife and my children, they're gone. I don't have any purpose. I need something to live for. And I think becoming the church bell ringer would do that. So please just let me prove to you that I can do it. And so the pastor, he's like, I wish I could. There's nothing, the Christian thing for me to do would be to hire you on and help raise you up and give you that purpose in life. Unfortunately, it's hard. I can't see myself hiring someone with no arms, as unfortunate as that is, to be the church bell ringer. And so the Vietnam veteran, he says, "Just please just let me prove to you. And then if I can't, I'll leave. I'll leave. I won't bother you anymore." The pastor says, "Okay, well, let's go up and you can show me what you can do." So they walk up 5 flights of stairs. This is quite a jaunt. This is a hike. Go up the stairs, enter the bell tower. Oh my God, gigantic bell. Never seen a bigger bell in your entire life. And pastor looks at the Vietnam veteran. He says, son, God be with you. I bless you. And he kind of gives him, between you and me, I think he gave him the last rites, but he blessed him. The Vietnam veteran, he's staring at that bell. 3, 4, 5 minutes, silent. Hear a pin drop in that bell tower room. Looks at the pastor, looks back at the bell, backs up to the end of the room, runs, leaps as high in the air as he possibly can. I'm talking Michael Jordan circa 1988. His head hits the bell, and the bell starts ringing. Again, fucking miracle. The pastor looks at this guy, this Vietnam veteran, he says, oh, that is the most impressive thing I've ever. I think that you truly are blessed by God. This is amazing. Unfortunately, we don't do the hiring at this church. But, if you go to the next church, it's a little ways away, 50 miles.
Yeah.
But if you go to this last church, and you can convince them to hire you on, they will give you that position. And then the Vietnam veteran says, well, okay. Hold on. Wait. As much as I want to take you at your word, the last church said the exact same thing to me. So do you promise that if I can convince this last church that to hire me on as the church bell ringer, that like it will actually happen? And the pastor says, yes, I give you my word as a man of the cloth. This will happen, but we just don't do the hiring. We are, a sister church to this other church. They make all the decisions. They're kind of the head cardinal, head pastor of this whole region. So please just, if you convince them, we would be more than happy to take you on as the church bell ringer. So the Vietnam veteran says, okay, thank you for your time. And he leaves. Another week. 2 weeks, probably.
2 weeks.
50 miles?
50 miles.
And he's got no arms. He's all legs and all heart. But he's going there. He meets a couple of people.
Yeah.
A dog starts following him for a little while, but the dog isn't following him at the end, though. It's just like a brief sort of meetup. It's hard to feed the dog, so the dog eventually wanders off. But he meets people. Right. That's not relevant to the story, though. So we're going to cut that out.
Okay.
So none of those parts are like the dog and the other people that he meets. Like we're going to leave that out so we can get to the important stuff in the story, which is when he gets to that last church.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay. So he finds the church. Holy shit, Ryan.
Yeah.
This church would blow your balls out.
Right.
The single biggest church in the world, seemingly, that he had ever seen. He's never been to every church. Like, I'm sure, Notre Dame is probably bigger, but this is a gigantic church. Like, seemingly the entire side of the church is all stained glass, which, costs probably an arm and a leg. You know what I mean? So, and most importantly, huge bell tower, gigantic, 3 stories tall of a bell tower, just overlooking the entire cityscape. So he walks in, eventually after calling out for a half an hour, enough time to watch an episode of 2.5 Men, he finally finds the pastor. It's like, Pastor, I've been to 2 of your sister churches. They told me that if I could convince you to become the church bell ringer, that you could hire me on. And he's like, well, that's true, son. We do make all the hiring decisions for all the nearby churches. And so the Vietnam veteran says, okay, well, please hire me on. That's all I'm asking. I've been looking for my purpose in life. I lost both of my arms in the Vietnam War. I have no family. My home, I'm sure it's been lost by now. I've been out here wandering for seemingly months at this point. Please just hire me on so I can find my purpose in life. And the pastor says, well, I wish I could help you. It seems like it would be the Christian thing to do. I can't hire on a man with no arms to become a church bell ringer. It just doesn't feel right. And so the Vietnam veteran was like, well, please, if I can show you that I can do this job, will you hire me on? And the pastor says, well, you know what? If you can prove it to me that you can do the job, then I promise you, we will hire you on at our churches. And the Vietnam veteran says, okay, great. Thank you. That's all I'm asking for. So they walk 10 stories up. This is like a super church. This is like a skyscraper of a church. This is like the biggest church you've ever seen. So they go up, puts the other bell to shame. This is literally twice the size of the previous bell, which was already the biggest bell I'd ever seen in his entire life. Enormous bell. And so he looks at the pastor, and the pastor says, well, God be with you, son. Gives him his last rites, blesses him. It's like, may God be with you. I'll I'll be praying for you. Vietnam veteran walks to the back of the room. His back touches the wall. Oddly enough, he starts circling around the room, gathering speed. It's kind of a slow trot to start with. Then he makes his way to a jog. Then he's sprinting. This guy's like Usain Bolt in his prime, like 2012 era Usain Bolt. It's crazy. A man with no arms, you wouldn't think he'd be able to generate that much speed, but he did. So he's going in a circle, just faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. Eventually, when he's at top speed, maximum velocity, he darts to his left, leaps as high as he can, misses the bell, falls out of one of the stained glass windows, falls all 10 stories, and dies immediately on impact upon hitting the ground. The pastor runs down. By the time he makes it down, EMTs are there, various parents from the neighborhood, children, they've all gathered around. They're all trying to, gather information about this man, figure out what happened, etc. Eventually, one of the EMTs approaches the pastor and he's like, Pastor, did this man, did he give you any information where he came from? His name, anything like that? And the pastor, he looks at the EMT and he says, No, I didn't get his name, but his face sure does ring a bell.
God fucking damn it.
And that's Eric's wisdom tree. If you're not hard, get hard. Once you get hard, stay hard. Take it sleazy, everybody. That's how you're going to make friends in Rochester, Ryan.
Maybe I'd go with the larger penis.